All right. Yeah, apparently breakfast is bringing a level of joy, just the sight of breakfast. And it was really like, it was so fluffy and like, yeah. No, no, actually, yeah, I thought, like when you mentioned all blueberry jam, like, oh, this is going to be sweet. Usually they are.
Yeah.
This one actually ended up being real nice.
And you took it more of the other one. That was so good. I took a bite of this one and I was like, I want my cranberry apple one. I'll have to go get some later.
So what's up? You're done with gluten-free?
I've been able to do whatever I want, yeah.
For how long now?
When was Dizzy's,
Since his wedding?
even before that, I mean, remember, I think I was sitting down eating a hamburger in front of everybody.
Oh my gosh, we went over. I was worried about that. I was like, it's just, chance.
Yeah, that's why. That's why. Like I'm munching on the muffin over there, and I'm like, it's gotta like I should enjoy less, knowing that you can't eat it. I didn't even know you're kind of.
Yeah, no, I can eat it. I gotta be, well, it's not even big, because I've been testing my limits.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I can handle quite a bit, but I know, like, what my body needs. Like, I can sense when I don't eat fruit and shit.
Okay.
So I just be aware.
No, yeah. I got you. Yeah. I mean, Jasmina went through that process as well. Like she was gluten-free for like a year and a half. There is a book, actually, it's called Eat Wheat. If you have it, there, then you know the whole story, the whole thing behind it. And now, if she is kind of same thing, if she's attentive, she's fine with eating pizza. She's fine with any of this kind of stuff, as long as it doesn't go overboard. But she got to the point, same thing, to feel, okay, this is enough for today, or this is enough for this week, and so on. And she's fine.
I mean, what I've come to realize, as long as I just put the good stuff in my body, I can take a lot.
Okay.
I just get a lot of food, a lot of my food.
Yeah.
The same way. When I'm eating really good, healthy food, I can eat a lot more fried foods.
Okay, yeah.
And not have heartburn.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm like just eating bad foods, heartburn comes back.
And it's so. And here's the thing: when you're in your environment, when you're in your controlled environment, that you control it, it's fine. But then you go take a vacation, and like poof, everything just goes down the drain.
I haven't recovered.
Oh, from the.
And I'm still like, Chick-fil-A today. No, we didn't really eat that much.
Yes.
For whatever reason, my whole vacation was still happening.
No, it's funny. Aren't we funny species? Okay, my dear friends. So let's start with the prayer of presence. Let's give the Lord an opportunity to tap into our minds. Let's just clear our minds, be aware of our presence, be aware of His presence. Let's give Him a minute and try to. Let me just set my timer. I had my timer to 1 hour and a minute. Okay. Dear Lord, right now, as we take some time to think about our everyday life and your involvement in it, may your Spirit be with us. May you open our eyes, give us clarity, and help us understand where you are when we are busy and how you can make our busyness actually work in our favor when it comes to our spirituality. Amen. Okay, so 9 to 5 spirituality. The most time that we spend in our lives is pretty much working. Some start working when they're 16. Most of you guys had your first job while you were still minors. You go through college, you get a job, and then you work well into your 60s. And you spend at least 8 hours. Like 90% of people spend at least 8 hours if they're lucky. Every single day working. Majority of people spends 10, even 12 hours working. So that 9 to 5 expression comes from the 20th century, and it's becoming less and less relatable to to millennial generation, because they have a job and a side job and a gig, you know, and then by the time kind of all of that time accumulates, 9 to 5 is not really enough time to kind of squeeze everything in. A fairly small share of the population, like 5%, are maybe in a situation where they don't have to follow this rhythm. But pretty much all of us that I see right now, all of us are in that rhythm. And you look at your past, you've been there for like a decade at least. You look at your future, you're going to be in this rhythm for several decades of your life. And this is the prime time of your day that you give to your 9 to 5. The prime time. When you're the most aware, when you're the most present, when you're the most awake, when you're the most productive, that is funneled into this time for a certain purpose. Now, the bare fact that your best is being given to this period of work, I figured we should really invest some time and think about the spiritual engagement in that period of time. Because usually, you know, I mean, you guys know when you work, you're fully focused on it. Depending on what you do, but you have to be focused. You have to be engaged. You know, you have to be on top of whatever you're doing. You have to give your best and so on to achieve in order for you to move forward and make more money in less time and so on. So how do you fit in spirituality? How do you fit in your spiritual growth into this most productive time of your life, besides occasional like short prayer here and there, or maybe if you get a chance during a break to read something from the Bible or whatever it is? Most people don't even do that. But I mean, you had 50 minutes, you took a nap, you know, but that comes with age as well. So, oh, I know. You know that couch in my office? That is actually a futon, and it's so worth it. So, first to get into this discussion, I would like us, because pretty much our spiritual experience is based on the Bible, on what we know from the Bible, I would like us to kind of shift a little bit and get ourselves in the mindset of that time when Jesus was around, and just to invest into understanding, like, how did they maintain their spirituality throughout their 9 to 5s? Because we always look back to that time when Jesus was around, and we look at that first church like growing and the spiritual abundance in this group of people who were still living their lives, you know? And when I read, like you read the Acts, you read Paul's letters, you know, like this is crazy stuff, like this is awesome. Like if we could replicate this, if we could get into the state of mind and spiritual growth where the Spirit would be able to sow efficiently and fluently work in our lives, like that would be amazing. So if we observe how they lived and how they did things in their everyday lives, maybe we can learn to see what we can adjust in our lives to make this happen sooner and faster and better. So let's start with this. Since there are still not too many of us, I want us to kind of split in groups a little bit, but we're going to just do it all together. Let's see. So when we talk about biblical times occupations, let's see how many you guys, not yet. No, this one is okay, but not the next slide. No. How many of you guys can come up with, like on top of your head, remembering what you know from the Bible? Give me some, actually give me all of the biblical times occupations that cross your mind. Carpenter. That's, huh? The what? Farmers. Fishermen. Tax collector. Sheep herders.
Setting up tents.
Setting up tent makers.
Brass workers.
The what?
Brass workers.
Brass workers.
Masonry.
Masonry.
Someone already say fisherman?
Huh? Yeah, we heard fishermen. Come on.
Produce?
Huh?
Homemaker?
Oh, carpenter.
You said that was the first thing you said. Huh?
Pottery?
Pottery, yep.
Whatever you can sell at the market, really. Whatever you can sell at the market.
Okay.
Entrepreneurs.
Merchants.
Clothing, trade, you know, goods, myrrh, cinnamon.
That's all I
Clergy?
can. Huh?
Was it clergyman?
Yeah, priesthood.
Money,
Yep.
money
Priest.
changers in the town.
Money changers.
Oh, the mourners.
Mourner. Yeah. I didn't remember that one. Yes. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. That was a good paid
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
They still do that in my country.
They also do that in China.
Oh, okay. In actually, interesting word. Yeah, probably the same way it was. But people would literally pay women and give them a list of things to cry about. You know, oh, who's gonna do this now when you're gone? How are we gonna? And so on. Yeah. But it's interesting watching that. Like it's. Okay. What else? Anything else?
Grave robbers?
Huh?
Grave robber?
Grave robber. I don't know if that's. I don't really know if that's an occupation. Technically, it is an occupation, but it's not really a.
occupation.
Grave organizer? I don't know. Undertaker?
Undertakers. Yeah. All right. This is the list that I kind of accumulated as I was going a little bit through. So you have the food industry, farmers, hunters, fishermen, bakers, cooks, shepherds. Then you have trades. Carpenters, all kinds of smiths. Like you'll find the blacksmiths, silversmiths, coppersmiths, merchants. Again, all kinds of merchants. As you were talking about it, potters, masons, tanners. Tannery was a big deal, like at that time. Tent makers, pharmacists, fullers. It's a laundry. They were doing the laundry.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and it's kind of like they had laundromats at that time. Like hosts, they had these inns and hotels where people would stay. Then you had the entertainment industry, musicians, singers, dancers. You had the corporate bankers, lenders, money changers. It's so cool. Like you think about this, like what's different, you know? Then you had the governmental system, judges, governors, soldiers, commanders, scribes, that would be the attorneys, tax collectors, jailers. And then eventually, at the end, like the spiritual sector of priests, teachers, Levites. But look at this. Like, what changed? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, but you have all, and this is like when you will find it in the Bible. These were like the full-time occupations. This is something that people did for a living. You have like just list of, when you look at musicians, you'll find a whole, probably like at least a dozen of different, like musicians specifically mentioned, like the tambourines, the trumpets, the flutes, the like a bunch of that stuff. You'll find Also, different singers. You'll find the spiritual singers. You'll find the entertainment singers. You'll find the, and then the bankers. That was so cool. So banks and lending and money changing has been around forever. You could literally go out there and get the mortgage on your fishing boat, on your house, and get a loan on your fishing boat. You know, and a lot of people did that. You know, and so you look at this. But yeah, you realize that actually a debt is something that's been going on in humankind pretty much since the agricultural revolution. It's like for like thousands and thousands of years, you know. But the reason I brought this up is because we always talk about the Bible and we say, oh, things were so much simpler back then. You know, people's lives were so much simpler and so on. Not really. You know, not really so much really changes in the generations of people. Even on the other side of the world, even thousands of years away, like the same rhythm of life does not really change. You know, people, you're a kid from the early age, you're taught that you need to work for a living. At that time, the only thing that they really didn't have at that time was public education. I mean, technically, nobody had public education until like 200 years ago. There was no such thing as public education. And it actually started here in the United States and then spread around. Education was always for elites, always for the special ones, for the privileged ones, and so on. So that's the only thing that they really didn't have at that time as well. And that is the difference. Like right now we have public education where everybody goes through this process of conditioning for the first 25 years of our lives. That's what most people do. Or at least first 20 if you don't want to go to college. You're going to go through high school, you're going to get a trade school, and then, but again, same type of conditioning as back then. As soon as you grow up, you need to work for a living. What's next? What is the next thing that all of them and all of us would do after they get out of school, after they get a job?
Get married, have kids.
Exactly. Get married, have kids, have a family, procreate. You know, make sure that the system never stops having their patrons or whatever you want to call. You know, and then kind of the system goes back again. Then you have to raise those kids. I mean, you guys are going to witness live, real time now with Nidia, how it actually looks like. But for me, it was always like, you know, talking to people over here, like we see, at least for me, I see a perspective of parenthood from when I was a child, and that's it. And to me, it didn't seem nothing as it seems right now. Looking at people right now, this is like you have one child, that is a 2-decade commitment. That is a 2-decade commitment to nothing else but, I mean, if you want to do it right. If child is like, if you just need a Christmas ornament for taking pictures and then you want to have a kid, and there's a lot of people who do that as well, you know, set them in boarding school if you can afford it or whatever. But if you really want to raise your kid, that is like if you're lucky, a quarter of your life commitment is going to go to that. And then 2 years later, you have another one, you know, and then the clock resets for another and so on. So you look at people, like why were people doing all of these things? For the same reason. Like we live in a society that has been around for thousands of years all over the world that is based on us keeping this rhythm going and staying within the confines of it. Because the moment you stop or interrupt the rhythm, you're not just choosing for yourself to interrupt it, you're interrupting everybody else around you that you touch. Like for example, you decide to quit your job and go to the mountains and get spiritual enlightenment. Yeah, they're going to find somebody else to to do your job as well. But what if your job is unique and you have a lot, like you have a lot of clients who come to you for years because of the experience they get, because of the service they get, you know? And now you decide, you know what, just send everybody an email, guys, I'm closing down, canceling all of the appointments and done. It's more than just disturbance in your rhythm. You're disturbing everybody else's rhythm as well. And as long as the system is not disturbed, everything is fine. Biblical times were different from our times in a way where you can say things were simpler back then because people had less entertainment. But they still had a lot of entertainment at that time. They had taverns all over the place. Like after work, people would go over there. The singers, dancers, musicians, you had that all over the place. Every weekend there would be weddings. Weddings and funerals were popular places of congregation, and you know how it goes. Like whether it's a wedding or a funeral, the only difference between a wedding and a funeral is what kind of music is being played over there. Because it's same thing. Like we get together, we either laugh or we cry, and then we have a whole bunch of food, and then we spend time together and we commune and congregate. That was a good funeral. Have you guys ever had that? Like, this was a good funeral. Yeah? You know, so many nice things were said, and it was nice to remember and so on. But again, the rhythm of that time is no different than our rhythm right now. Now the question is, and we can actually, this is what I would like us to discuss in 2 weeks in our last chapter, like, should we disturb the rhythm or not? And if we do disturb the rhythm, how should we do it? So we still serve the humanity and not just kind of tear it apart. What I would like us to talk about today is like in the light of this, your 9 to 5. So what is your 9 to 5 committed to? That is question number one. And then after that, we're going to go through a couple of Bible reports that tell us how Jesus disturbed 9 to 5s to make something bigger. So right now, let's discuss this for a little bit. When you look at your 9 to 5, what drives you every morning to go back and commit to it? Why is that funny?
It's a basic answer, money.
Money. One word, money. Okay. Is everything about getting paid?
Of course.
Huh?
Of course not.
I said, of course.
No, that's what no.
He's like,
I heard. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's what I heard. Yeah, and then the second time he's like, of course not. No, okay. No. But so if we talk about the money, is money? How do you determine whether money is the primary driving force in your 9 to 5s? Very easy. Would you keep doing what you're doing right now if you were not getting paid for it?
I would do it a lot less. Like maybe 4 hours for 2 days a week. Because I enjoy talking and laughing with my clients.
Okay, so there is another aspect of it as well, right? So you would still, some people would like screw it, I'm not doing that if I'm not getting paid. Like,
I just would get so bored. I literally had weeks where I did absolutely nothing during COVID, and I was like, oh.
now, let's kind of linger there around. So you say that you would still be doing it, even though you wouldn't be getting paid, you would still be doing it, but for a different kind of a benefit. So, what are those benefits other than money that drive you to 9 to 5?
I love seeing my clients get better, healthier.
Okay.
It's so rewarding seeing someone who, for example, I had a client, I was doing cupping on her shoulder, and she didn't tell, she should have told me, that she couldn't move her arm all the way around. And so I just left those cups there as I'm like working on her and everything, and then I slowly start moving her arm, and she's like, I haven't been able to move my arm like that in weeks. And that reward was astronomical for me. Just seeing her have that range of motion again. Having clients tell me, wow, I haven't been able to use that. I haven't been able to move. I haven't been able to do all these different things. And now I can, thanks to you. I'm like, wow, that's the best.
Yeah, yeah. So there is that like aspect of giving it away because it makes this world a better place. Yeah.
I mean, we're kind of like goal-driven creatures. And we have, goals, we set goals, and we like working. I mean, it's even kind of a curse that was like put upon us.
Okay. All right. So we're talking about achievements. So I have certain things that I want to achieve, and even if I don't get paid, I'm going to do it because I want to achieve something. I want to do something. I want to say that I accomplished it. Okay. Okay. That's all Sunday drives. What else? What would get you back to your work if you're not getting paid? Okay. Okay.
I wake up every morning and I'm like, no, I don't want to go to work. But the moment I'm at work, I'm like, okay, it's not that bad. So then I start.
Okay. What about you?
I get to yell and torture people.
Ah, that feels good. That's good.
And I don't get in trouble.
You're paid to yell at people, and you will do it for free
And they come
as well.
And they come in voluntarily.
I feel the same way.
So, yeah. Oh, deep tissue, here I come. Like, I had when we had that car accident, so I had to take that therapy, and there was one guy who was doing like that sport recovery, deep tissue, and he's like, "You're a pastor, right? Oh, I have something for you, a mighty elbow of God." And he's like, "Oh, like your mighty elbow of God is making me say sinful things, like." So. No, it can be, but seriously, like same experience. Like after 45 minutes, like, whoa, this moves this way. It's gonna, okay, so we have 9 to 5s over here. We have 9 to 5s over there. You look at these 9 to 5s. Now, if you guys look at this, and we just discussed a little bit. So if you would, money is is kind of the major motivator for us to go back to 9 to 5. But there is more than just money. There is like a certain percentage of desire to achieve, certain percentage of desire to help and make this world a better place, certain desire to be a jerk. There's like, but it all pays back in different ways. Now, if you had to pick from this over here, from this list over here, tell me your top 3. Huh?
Levi.
Okay, come up with 3 and then raise your hand. I would like us to discuss why. So top 3. Okay, ladies first. Let's start with.
I chose a baker, a host, and a potter.
Did you say a banker or a baker?
Baker.
Oh, baker. Oh, okay. Baker, a host,
And a potter.
potter. Okay. So and that is like 1, 2, 3, the order of choosing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Farmer, musician, Levi.
What was the first one? Farmer,
Yeah.
farmer, musician, or Levite? Okay.
Oh, you pointed it, Sean.
Yeah, I was like.
Tax collector, priest, or a Levite. I'll do nothing. I'll make money, and I'll pretend I'm all that in a bag of chips.
So that's how you feel pastors do their job. Okay, very nice. Yeah. Okay.
Back then, it didn't take to squat.
Well, don't forget what they had to slaughter animals, and there was blood all
I skinned
over.
cat.
Yeah. Oh Lord.
For science class.
Let's not. Never mind.
Tuesday, just a random Tuesday. Some vacation.
Okay.
Fisherman, carpenter, and pharmacist.
Fisherman, charpentier, and pharmacist. Okay,
My goodness.
I have to pronounce it right. All right, now, think of these three that you picked. Now, I want you to envision number one. So, you, fisherman, you said banker, right? No, tax collector. You're baker, and then you said farmer. Okay, now, your top pick, number one. Try to envision, based on what you know from history, from culture, from reading the Bible and so on, how would your 9 to 5 look like?
Miserable, but I make all the money. Really bad. Do you wake up early because of the baker? That's right. You wake up like 2 or 3 in the morning. Start baking. But at least your day would be done around like 1 or 2.
You-
He's like practically already back.
Yeah, you're halfway there. Yeah, it's just like now, interesting thing that both of you kind of agreed on, it would be miserable, but worth it. Now, there,
Like finding a job that's also a hobby,
uh-huh,
because then it's not fun.
yeah, indeed, yeah.
See, that's the thing. Like, if I were to be a potter, like, I would love to be a potter. That's something as a hobby I would love to do with my whole heart. But doing it for a job would be so. Doing any of that for a job, this is. Maybe back then it was more like nicer because if you had people like, hey, can you do me this or hey, can you do me that, and then you'd like make it either personally or you make whatever you want and then sell it. But like now it's just like no one wants that anymore.
Well, okay, we
Sorry, restraint. Yeah,
Huh?
sorry. Restraining a little bit.
no, yeah. We shouldn't really kind of make a parallel between. I'm not saying about you doing this right now. I'm talking about these things like being in a time and doing this. That was on my mind because yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, you can't really compete with made in China silverware or whatever, you know. And that's not the point. But the whole point over here is there is an option that I gave you, and the option was pick whatever you want to do for the best time of your day for most of your future in the next couple of decades, and you guys made your picks.
That's what I'm gonna do when I retire.
Now, huh?
That's what I'm gonna do when I retire.
What are you gonna do when
Fish.
you turn?
Oh, no, but if you think about it, we pick our 9 to 5s based on a passion. Like a lot of times, you know, life takes you, and who you are right now, you didn't really intend to be there when you were 16 or 17, when you were actually planning, you know, what you want to do with your life and where you want to be.
I changed my answer. I want to be a commander.
Too late. Now you have to stick with being a tax collector. But yeah, she would be a good commander. That's like, attention. Now, where was I?
I apologize.
The holidays, these people at that time, they really couldn't choose. It was usually a family trade that you would inherit, and considering the fact that most of these trades required tools were already in the family, and you just kind of generational, you continue whatever you inherit from your parents, grandparents, and so on. So, but here's the thing. When you have an option to choose, and oh yes, I remember now where I was, yeah. So where you guys are right now, that probably wasn't an idea that you had when you were in your teens. This is who I want to be for the rest of my life. Maybe even when you were in your early 20s, like this is where I want to be for the rest of my life, and so on. And you know, life kind of drives you in a certain direction to pick and choose some things that make who you are right now. And sometimes you look back and like, oh, okay, I really dodged the bullet with going in this direction. But sometimes I really wish I went the other way. You know, we always have that option. So right now, where you are, where your 9 to 5 is a matter of choice, but also a matter of circumstances. You know what I'm talking about. You understand what I'm talking about. But when you were given option to choose whatever you want, one thing that happens in this game, when you play this game, no matter how old people are, it always reveals the same thing. It reveals a desire and a fear, like two things. Because you do your 9 to 5s majorly for a reason of self-sustainability. I want to sustain my lifestyle. I want to make enough money so I can afford things that I want to do and so on. But at the same time, I want to enjoy what I do as well. Like Mark Twain, you know, when your vocation is your vacation, that's when you win in life, you know, which is really cool to think about. But I want you to now give me a thought on this idea of a passion and a fear. What you chose initially as number one, as the first thing that you wanted to do. What kind of passion is tied into it? And what kind of a fear is tied into it? I'll elaborate more on it, but I just want to hear from you, like what is your initial idea when I say your first choice reveals your passion and your fear? Tough. Okay, let's just think about one thing, just passion. Just tell me, what do you feel the passion is that drives you?
With the current job that I have.
No, with the one that you picked from the list.
Oh, then I just want a free life.
Free life. Okay, that's passion. Yeah.
Good food, good health, being in paradise.
Good food, good health, being in paradise. Okay, that's a nice passion.
I love baking, but I just love baking.
Now the whole concept of just enjoying bacon. Okay,
You bake whatever you want.
okay, all right.
And I said like it's a hobby, so it's like
Okay.
drawn to it, but then at the same time it's like that maybe the fear of not enjoying your hobby in the end.
What do you mean?
Because if 9 to 5 you're like you think fishermen, I'm a fisherman, but I go out in a lake or a river and I go, they're on a boat for days in and days out throwing nets over, so it's like that's not my technical idea of fishing.
Oh, that's
So it's like,
it's not really a relaxing fishing.
no, I have
Like
family.
sun, rain, tossing the nets, pulling the nets. Yeah.
It's my cousin's like half sister. Her husband he does the ones that like goes out deep sea fishing.
Oh, okay.
He's on a boat for a week at a time. They get
That's
sick all the time. Yeah. Or a month or however long they need to be out there.
So the passion was fairly easy to kind of see, you know. Now tell me about the fear. And this is the fear that I'm referring to. So anytime we talk about I want to do this in my life, is something you're afraid of and you feel that when you engage in this vocation or whatever it is, it's going to eliminate that fear, or at least it's going to address it. Sometimes it can be a very simple thing. Sometimes it can be a complex thing. But I want you, when I describe it like this, what would you see as a fear that is driving you to your 9 to 5?
Let's just invert it for me. So if I was talking about good food, then inverted would be the lack of food. And then if you were to invert health, you know, then that's not having good health. So I guess the fear of not having those things.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, that's a good way to see it. Just invert whatever your passion is and you can see your fear. What about the rest of you?
I mean, it's like a career like anything, like our careers now are not providing, and that doesn't necessarily mean money, but it could mean your job isn't providing the resources, or you're not providing the resources your job entails.
Okay.
Like a fisherman, they're not able to catch fish, so then they're not able to bring anything back, and then it kind of goes down the line where kind of like if we have gas is too high, so everything else goes up,
Yeah.
kind of destroy the market in a sense.
Okay, all right. So the fear of not being, you do your job because you feel if you would pursue something that you maybe like more, but that would not be sufficient to provide. So you make a compromise between, okay, I don't like this as much, but it provides. So the bargain is worth it, kind of like that. Okay, yeah, that's a worthy fear as well. Yeah.
I was gonna say that I wanted to change mine to commander because I have an easier time dealing with commanding people. Yeah, it's gonna be hard, and I am in charge to make sure that things are running smoothly in the land. But I have an easier time dealing with that than being a tax collector, because being a tax collector, everyone hates you. I would just, even if I did my job right, they would still hate me.
Well, okay, go back to the initial one.
So my fear would be having to deal with people.
Okay. Okay. All right.
As
Well,
it is my fear currently.
Being a commander, yeah, gives you like an upper hand in dealing with people. Where I'm like, okay, I understand. Yeah. Okay. So sometimes the issue, the fear that is hidden behind our 9 to 5s also reveals things that we feel that we might be inadequate for. Like I'm doing this right now because I can't do this. I might be willing to do something. I like that much more. I really like that much more. But I don't feel I could do a really good job with that. But this, I'm going to settle for this because it pays the bills. It's okay. It's fine. And I just feel inadequate for what I really like or want to do. So, oh, hello.
Good morning.
Now, in the light of this whole concept of 9 to 5, we toss Jesus in here. And we're going to do that with verses in Matthew chapter 4. So, how Jesus deals with tossing in spiritual experience in, bless you, in an everyday professional. It's weird. So, Matthew chapter 4, we're going to read 18 to 22, verses 18 to 22. You guys more or less know the story, but let's kind of go through it. So while walking by the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon, who is called Peter, and Andrew, his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. And he said to them, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." And immediately they left their nets and followed him. And going on from there, he saw two other brothers, James, the son of Zebedee, and John, his brother, in the boat with Zebedee, their father, mending their nets, and he called them. And immediately they left the boat and their father and followed him. Now, I would like you to put yourselves, for Sean it's going to be easy, but everybody else, put yourselves in the shoes of these guys. So, you have guys who are professionals. You have professional fishermen here, and they know who Jesus is, obviously. So he was the talk of the town for all of that time, and they heard of him, and he shows up, and he offers them a job. That is literally what he did over here. He offers them a job. And he tells them, okay guys, you will still be fishers. You know, you're gonna still do what you do best, but we're going to change the catch. You're gonna be catching something else. Now, tell me, when you kind of think about this situation, how do you think they felt when Jesus came to them and he offered them a job? Hope.
For better.
Hope for better. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. That's a nice thought. What about the rest of you? When you think about them, like two of those guys are sitting over there. If they were fixing their nets, they either just pulled in, and now they're trying to fix stuff, or they're getting ready to pull out with their boat, and they're getting things ready. So they're like right there, getting stuff finished and done, and so on. And Jesus shows up. Uncertainty. Okay. I guess you could say there is an uncertainty in this situation as well.
Intrigues me. It doesn't make no sense, but on the one hand, he's speaking to the heart.
Okay, yeah, I guess. Actually, you have Peter, who is acting just like that, who is challenging Jesus, and he's like, "We gotta make a living, I don't have time for this, And he had a family to feed. He was married. He had a house in Capernaum that they tore a roof off. You guys remember that story. So Peter was a full-blown small business owner with a family, most likely kids as well. And he needed to feed those kids. He needed to keep the things going. And he's like, I don't have time for this. Like we were catching all night. We need to catch some break, I can't, don't you, teacher, tell me stuff. And he's like, no, toss it on the right side. And you guys remember the rest of the story. The weirdo attitude changes into a fear from Peter. Because, do you guys remember, what was the first thing that Peter said to Jesus when they came back with nets full and boats sinking? How full they were. Do you remember what was the first thing that Peter said to Jesus?
You are God.
Uh-uh.
I think he said, turn your face away from me.
Yeah.
No.
Depart from me, because I am a sinful man. Some gambling habits. That part of the New Testament comes later when they're casting the lots. That's like at the end. Now, uncertainty, yes. I mean, you can see that in Peter. And Peter, I would think Jesus, when he told Jesus, depart from me, that was also part of the fear, because he saw who he's interacting with. And he's like, I can't do this.
I just want to mention the most striking thing here, I believe, is the fact that they are fishermen. Rabbis don't pick students from fishermen. There is a strata, social strata, and even though they are in the most economic, they are there because there is the Sea of Galilee, they are fishermen. So that's the economy, the base of the economy of the place. Still, they are not socially in the place where a rabbi picks, fishermen. That's very relevant, I think.
This is a cool thing, yes.
Yeah.
Jesus is not offering them any kind of job. They are blue-collar people, and Jesus is offering them a white-collar job. So he steps in, and he's like, you guys want to do some work in the religious sector, in the spiritual sector, instead of doing this basic stuff?
I am unworthy, I am untrained.
There is also that lack of competence, again, and I felt that in Peter, we can also see that. But you see these guys over here, at least how the story describes, they just got up and they followed him. Now, this was, it seems like it's spur of the moment decision that they're making over here. Yes, this rabbi is offering them a really, really good position, really good perspective, so they can get out of this life and out of this rhythm and up their life and have it better and make it better down the road. as they're following this rabbi. But I don't think this was like spur of the moment decision, because Jesus didn't just show up. He was preaching and teaching, and he was doing things in the area. They heard about him. They knew who he was, you know. And what was the story of him? Well, he's a rabbi that has no students, you know. He's just by himself. He's teaching. Oh, who is he gonna? He's probably gonna go to the courthouse to see if there are any or whatever. And he shows up on the lake, and he's looking for students over here. So suddenly, their 9 to 5, and their 9 to 5 over here is very professional. Their 9 to 5 has nothing to do with the spiritual, except for when they're hoping and asking that a miracle is going to happen when they didn't catch anything or whatever it is, you know. But essentially, the whole professional life that they would live was solely focused on the horizontal experience of life.
Something that I was thought, because I was trying to figure it out through the narrative, follow me and I will make you fishers of men, is that in Indian movies, they tend to have the basis of the guy works at the boring 9 to 5, and then an opportunity that's too good to be true, and they're like, I'm going to follow my heart and follow this, and then the movie does whatever it wants. And follow me and I make you fishers of men, immediately leaving their nets. It sounds like, I know you're focusing a lot on the professional, but it sounds like these guys were like full of, like the Holy Spirit was already working on them. Like they were spiritually primed and ready to start the charge. And what happens is that the minute they see, like the Son of God saying what the Spirit was saying in the scenario, because we don't have that much detail, that's why they leave immediately, because they were waiting for that.
And I agree with that. That's why I said I don't think this was a spur of the moment. I think that they were conditioned for this. But essentially, what I'm leading to, guys, is some of you guys missed. We had this in the beginning. We did the experiment. What drove them over here is putting aside necessities and focusing on the passion. You know, in our life, I'll recoup just a little bit. So what we were talking about in life today, 9 to 5 is generally driven by a profit. Like by what are you going to get, what are you going to earn to make a living, and then the lesser percentage is, am I passionate about this job? Is this job fulfilling my social needs, my personal needs, and so on? First and foremost, it's always the question, okay, if I do this job, am I going to make enough money to just make a living? Everything rolls around there. And then over here, this is where the break happens. This is where things shift and change, where people decide to switch priorities. And the first priority becomes a passion instead of whether I'm going to survive or not. So, question for you over here. If you would put this in kind of 21st century, in today's, today, you're offered the same opportunity. You're offered an opportunity, because here's the thing, Jesus didn't mention anything over here about being paid. He's not talking about the salary. He's not talking about the workman's comp. He's not talking about benefits, dental, or any of that kind of stuff, you know? All that they have is, or that he has for them is an opportunity. He's offering them an opportunity. And they jump on it. Now, they did regret this several times. You see that, like reading through the reports, you see that they regretted several times. And at the very end, you guys remember at the very end, okay, what are we going to do now? I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to go back to my boat. You know, this episode of life is over. Let's go back to reality. You know? So when you think about your passion for what you do right now, are you passionate about it, or you are more passionate about your paycheck? The reason that is an important thing to think about is because if you're driven to do what you do in your 9-to-5s more by your passion, there is an actual opportunity for the Spirit of God to walk in and to do things in your 9-to-5 that He otherwise wouldn't be doing it because you're just occupied with, okay, I got to make a living. These guys risked it all. I can see, like, James and John's father being really pissed. Like, just imagine, where are you guys going? We got fish to catch. You didn't finish the nets. Sorry, Dad, we got to go.
It's just like with jobs now, like my current job, I saw more potential in the job versus like working in skilled nursing, where I didn't have the work, the people around us, like the atmosphere, the contacts and everything, to where maybe there they saw potential. They saw what could be seen in the future, like the necessary payout, but not money-wise or whatever, but the benefit of it. So that's why it's like a lot of times people in businesses or whatever, they may stay for a long time maybe because the pay may be a little worse, but they see the beneficial atmosphere for mental health and everything. So
This is important thing to think about, because the more you are intrinsically engaged in your 9-to-5, the more you are engaged in it because your heart is in it, there is more opportunity for you to stop and think, okay, what can God do in my life to make this 9-to-5 better? Or sometimes it happens very organically, where you are really living out your Christ-like life, what God makes you in your 9-to-5, because you simply love it. You enjoy it. You enjoy what you're doing, and then the purpose of who you are just pours into it. And there is another argument, compelling argument for this, and it's also in Matthew 9:9. This is interesting. And you kind of, when you brought that up, like with a tax collector. So as Jesus passed on from there, he saw a man called Matthew sitting at a tax booth, and he said to him, "Follow me." And he rose and followed him. Now, who took care of the booth? Did Matthew care? It doesn't seem from here that he did. What about his financial stability? It didn't seem that he cared. What about his future? It didn't seem that he cared. We are constantly conditioned in our world that everything revolves around everything. The 9-to-5 must revolve around financial stability. You can see it's very common in education today, where stuff like arts and whether it's music, whether it's painting, whatever it is being excluded more and more out of elementary and basic education because of one main reason. It's not profitable. You know, why would kids learn that if they can profit from it? And we are constantly being told that number one thing that should drive us to pick our 9-to-5 for the rest of our life is it pays good. And there is always an example. Oh, you know that guy? You know that guy? You know, he went on with a guitar playing around, you know, the bars because that's his passion. Well, where is he now? You know, might be true. He might not be where everybody else is, you know? But the conditioning in our world is designed deliberately like that. That everything revolves first around the money and then around everything else. Matthew, do you guys know what Matthew did after this? So in the middle of the day, Jesus shows up at his booth and he's like, I want you to follow me. And Matthew knew who Jesus was very well. Like Matthew was the gossip of the town, because everybody was coming to him. He would hear everything from everybody, what's going on. He knew who Jesus was. And Jesus offers him the opportunity as well. And he grabs onto it. And what he does next? What does he do that evening? Yeah, he throws a party for Jesus. And he invites all of his friends, who Pharisees called sinners. And imagine Matthew's party. He's a low-life criminal, more or less. So there had to be a dancing pole in the middle of his living room or something like that, and the music and the cakes, all you can drink, and that was the party that Matthew would throw. That was his lifestyle. And then huh?
That's what he knew.
Yeah, exactly, But he's pretty much, huh? Excuse me?
Wasn't Matthew Jewish?
Yeah. Yeah, all of them were Jews. Yeah, Galileans, but still, yeah, all of them were Jewish. Yeah.
Busted out the fine china. So he probably busted out the fine china.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But what you see again in Matthew's experience is his life revolved, his 9 to 5 revolved around financial stability. Same thing for Peter and for Andrew and John and James and all of these guys. Like, their lives, their 9 to 5s revolved around safe and secure future, where I have to make sure that I have for my retirement, I have for my kids, for their college funds, for whatever it is. And you see over here them throwing it all away for the sake of passion, for the sake of where their heart was dragging them to. I have no idea. I was thinking about that before, like, how did Peter explain to his wife and his kids that he's leaving?
I don't think he even went to their house. I think he just fight.
Well, the story says that they were at his house,
Oh,
and that he actually brought Jesus in, and the crowd was so immense. You remember when they tried to bring in that guy on the, they tore the roof down to bring the guy in, so Jesus could heal him. Just imagine him like, what are you doing? Like, if he had a shotgun, that would be the end, think about it. But I was just trying to think, like, how did he even go from there? How did he, it wasn't even about him. It was about his family. It was about their financial security. And I have no idea, frankly, I really have no idea. But what we see from these stories over here, their 9 to 5s changed drastically, not because of a change in trade. Jesus told them, follow me, I'm going to make you fishers of men. You're staying fishers, You're still going to be fishing. But what really made the change in their 9 to 5 and where actual spiritual growth happened in their 9 to 5 is when they switched priorities. And they started doing what they did, first and foremost with the idea of, I'm serving God first, and then I'm serving these needs that I have. Now, when you guys think about your line of work, whatever you do, wherever you are in life, wherever you see your future, can you imagine what would you have to do to have this shift happening in your life? How do you see this shift happening in your life? And if you decide to pursue this passion of serving God first, would that drive you to change your profession? That is the hard part. That's why I asked you in the beginning, would you keep doing what you're doing right now if you were not getting paid? Because, and a lot of you were like, probably not, maybe a little bit. But when you start with this idea, okay, my 9 to 5, my best that I'm going to give is first going to be given for another purpose, not just financial sustainability and security and so on, but another purpose. And this 9 to 5 is going to first of all be, how can I serve God? How can I live up to my spiritual potential? How can I actually change this world for better that I do? And then, hopefully in the process, it's going to pay off as well. Are you exercising or raising your hand?
Stretching my hand.
Okay.
Well, I was thinking like it's very easy if someone invites you to go for a couple of weeks to Belize or some place in South America to be the church. That's also almost like a vacation and working, and that's fine. Maybe someone says, maybe you could take like a 6-month thing where you go and teach in a small village somewhere. Those are easy decisions, right?
Yeah.
You can manage that between your 9 to 5. You can find a way. But when it is a lifetime commitment, that's different. Now what we usually try to do is to say, okay, I have my 9 to 5, and then once or twice a week I volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's easy. That's very easy. Probably many of us do that. But when it is a lifetime commitment, that has so many consequences, right? For your children, your spouse, maybe other, even more people that depend on you. I mean, there are so many circumstances. It is a very hard decision. I think of these 4 individuals, and Matthew also, right?
Mm-hmm.
Making that choice for Jesus. That was a tremendous decision. I don't think they took it lightly. Seems like they just decide like that, but I'm sure they put a lot of thought.
I absolutely agree with that. Yeah, yeah. Because to address that, this is the thing. So one of Jasmina's professors, she is right now, she's retired, but she was a dean of Adventist University in Malawi, in Africa. But that was not her plan at all. Like a similar thing happened where they went on, Americans live over here, everything academic lifestyle and so on. They go on a mission trip over there. They spend 2 weeks on a mission trip. Then they go back on a mission trip. Next year they spend 6 months, bless you. She was almost fired from her job over here because of that. And then the next year they move over there. And they were actually waiting for their kids to kind of finish with school so their kids are independent. And she and her husband, they decided to move over there and commit to life over there. And it's crazy when she talks about that period of life, that was not, they were not, they literally switched completely the American lifestyle, the American salary, everything for the African ones. And they said that, and she always repeated, like, we couldn't have made a better decision in life. No? But it was a process for them that they had to go through to make that change. Now, over here, I'm not advocating that. I'm advocating for you guys to contemplate on your present 9 to 5 and ask yourselves, which of the priorities is on the top? What is driving your 9 to 5? Are you driven by this horizontal aspect of financial stability? Or are you driven by the vertical aspect? I can use this 9 to 5 to serve the humanity, to do the works of Jesus, to glorify God. You had your hand up.
Yeah, I hope it was mentioned earlier there, but like the focus on the disciples about them choosing to follow Jesus is that Jesus did the same thing before they did. Like he chose to leave at the age of 30, leave Nazareth, leave his mom, leave whatever career he had established. He went to the crazy guy in the desert, And the thing is that the fact that Jesus did it first, we don't know if it was difficult for him too. If he had to go through the same process that these guys did.
That is a good question as well. You know, Bible doesn't talk much about that. It doesn't really describe his struggles as he was going through this. But yeah, you're right. Like, he had a business. He inherited his dad's business. He was a carpenter. And I would assume that he probably had a shop and he had everything set up. And Mary was wondering when is she going to get any grandkids from him, or how is this even going to play out? I don't know, you know. But yeah, at one point he had to draw that line as well and say, okay, I'm leaving all of this behind to pursue what actually my purpose is. You know. So the question that I brought up is, would you still be in the same line of work? Is money was not an issue? You know, if we just talk about this, if money was not an issue, let's say you win a Powerball and you have 100 million in your bank account. You're set for life. Would you still go back and do the job that you do right now? Why? Huh?
You still got to work. Like
Well, not really. You really don't have to. If you have 100 million in your bank account, you don't have to work anymore whatsoever. You can invest that into real estate. You can invest into stocks, into whatever. You don't have to move your finger ever again. You don't have to do. You don't have to go back to your Monday 7, 8 a.m. whatever it is, ever again. Would you still keep doing it? What drives you?
The time that, partly the time and effort I put into it.
Okay.
As well, I feel like it's wasted. She says if she ever, God forbid, she goes to optometry school and makes tons of money. She's like, would you be a stay-at-home husband or dad? And I'm like, maybe. I enjoy doing my job.
Trophy husband. No,
You're
but
the one that offered it first. I wasn't the one
Yeah,
that
then
offered it.
I'm like, I actually like working.
no, hey, you see, that is the thing. So if you're driven to go back to whatever you do because of a passion for it, then there is an opportunity. You're opening there an opportunity for God to actually use it. Because you're not in a constant clinch. Am I going to make enough? Am I going to be able to cover the bills? Am I going to have enough in my 401k? Well, the moment that clinch is like on a second place, and the first one is, okay, this is an opportunity. This 9 to 5 that I have is an opportunity for me to actually make this world a better place, give God the glory, and help people. This is where things shift in people's lives. What we read over here is like an extreme example of it. But essentially, I believe that every single one of us needs to contemplate on this, evaluate why they do what they do, and then make this switch if that is necessary. Because if you don't, your best time of your life will be spent just on this horizontal plane, without any opportunity for an actual spiritual experience to grow into it. Next 2 weeks, we're going to talk more about practicality of how does this actually work? How would it look like if spiritual was engaged in your 9 to 5? How does God envision that in your lives, and how you can actually practically start doing it? But for now, I really want you to leave today with this thought. Take the time to evaluate what you do and what drives you more. And then see if you need to make that shift. And then next week we can discuss more that concept of making a shift. Okay, any questions? Excellent, all right. I know, I know. Okay, let's, that dog is just spoiled to the core. He earned his salary. Apparently.
He earned his 9 to 5.
Okay, Let's have a prayer, and then let's finish off those muffins over there. And let's volunteer somebody. Okay, Laura.
Dear Father, dear Lord Jesus, we want to thank you so much for everything you've given us. I pray that you help us with bringing spirituality to our 9 to 5. Help us contemplate this throughout the rest of this week, and even for the rest of our lives, so that we can have a much more closer walk with you. Lord, help us live a life that you want us to live, that you will help so that we can be used for your glory and for your kingdom. Help us surrender, and pray that you be with us and bless us for the rest of this week. In Jesus' name, we all pray. Amen.
Amen.